Hello and welcome back, my friends. I'm that one guy for never. Welcome to Cabbage Core. I want to welcome you to my New Game Plus build series. I've been working hard on developing some builds to help you guys dominate, but also enjoy the New Game Plus content. Alright, let's jump in and take a look at my new build. The Colossal Crusher is unbelievably ridiculous. I'm so excited to show this build off because I've undeniably broken the game again. Featuring jaw-dropping damage you can't believe until you see. You'll be pancaking enemies one after the other, serving them up for one hell of a breakfast feast. Wanna know how? Well, let's jump in to the full build. For the build, it's time to yoke up and get our unga bunga on. Our focus is on pure, unadulterated strength. To accomplish this, we're gonna stack some of the most powerful modifiers in the game while utilizing heavy attacks. Never cared for heavy attacks? Well, sit back and watch, my friend, because I'm about to blow your mind. To start things off, we need the meatiest weapon, the infused club of the Mother Demon. Not only does this weapon look badass, but its damage stat is so high that it literally is off the chart. To make this bad girl even stronger, we're gonna beat up the big bad brood mummy until she drops 2 S-tier modifiers. We're looking for an element up best and implant weakness of the same kind. Which element won't make much difference, but for the min-maxers, I highly recommend Sour. Why Sour? Because there's not a single creature that resists it. That's gonna make this build perfect for taking out every creepy crawler this game can throw at us. But wait, aren't heavy attacks super slow? How are we gonna pull this off? Fear not, my friend, that's a minor hurdle we're easily gonna overcome. While our brain-addled Unga Bunga mind can't comprehend it, this shiny sausage necklace empowers our build. First, we politely ask our neighbors for some D-duper jelly. Once stocked up, we're gonna grind out 2 tasty modifiers. Another element up best or implant weakness of the same kind as before. Combined with our weapon, that's gonna boost our base damage by a colossal 150%. And for the second modifier, Quick Charge, speeding up our charge time by 20%, taking our attack animation down from 2.4 seconds to 2.1 seconds. Not enough? I agree. Let's kick that up another notch. To yoke this build up, we need to hunt down Ox, the great and powerful. We fashion a helmet and chest piece from its shell, then polish it up down the sleek path. Harnessing the power of the Ox, we're gifted with strong armor, but also 2 amazing perks. Quick Charge. Each piece gives us a 12% reduction in charge time. Adding in our trinket, that gives us a combined 44% reduction, taking that slow attack down from 2.4 seconds to a speedy 1.8 seconds, giving us plenty of openings even when staring down the fastest bugs in the backyard. Second perk, Overbearing. With the colossal presence of the Ox, we smack some sense into our enemies. Each charged attack has a 33% chance of reducing the enemy's damage by 20% for 15 seconds. Don't underestimate it, it's gonna keep you alive. But what melee build couldn't be made better with a little acid? For legs, we fashioned some bulky fire ant leg plates. They might not be good eating, but their acid sure has a nice perk. Corrosion, giving our melee attacks a 10% chance to debuff the enemy with acid, causing them to take 15% more damage for 10 seconds. Most enemies aren't gonna survive that long, but it's a huge boon when it does proc. Impressed yet? Well, don't be, cause we're gonna take this even further. For mutations, we keep it simple. Thanks to old reliable, the Crushinator, we've always made our own luck, granting us coup de grace and Trapper Peeper for 5% crit chance and 60% more crit damage. Cardio Fan to keep our stamina up, making sure we're always smashing during every opening. Apex Predator. Thanks to the 1.4.7 update, Apex Predator finally works with infused boss weapons. This sinister mutation gives our club a 20% chance on each hit to apply a deadly venom dealing 135 damage over 15 seconds, bypassing any and all resistances. For that last slot, feel free to use whatever you want. Spicy safety or mithridatism for survivability are good choices, but even the newly reworked barbarian is a decent option if you can get the new parry timing down. Let's not forget, a warrior needs his energy, so we always pack some munchies. Perfect toast. What can we say? We're picky. It's simple yet effective, granting us another 5% crit chance and an additional 40% crit damage. And our berserker tonics, liquid rage, and boss sauce for 10% more damage and another 5% crit chance. Feel free to top yourself off with some human food to reduce damage taken by 10%. As for heals, none of that organic crap, that's plant food. Crusher needs meat. Workers' comp sounds just fine. Last, but certainly not least, we're gonna bump this up even further with a pet. Crusher get lonely. Make friend with baby fire ant. Now club hit harder. How much harder? 20% harder. Individually, each of these buffs are already strong, but all combined, everything comes together to create the ultimate barbarian warrior. Not only are we tanky, but our attacks hit like a truck with a boosted 2.8 times damage multiplier at level 15, dealing a base 970 damage. And with a 15% crit chance, you're almost guaranteed to crit at least once in the fight for a brutal 7.56 damage multiplier, dealing 2,620 damage. Boonga boonga, baby. So now we have to ask the big questions. How does this build hold up in New Game Plus? To help put things in perspective and help you compare this build against my other New Game Plus builds, I've come up with 5 rating metrics. First, we have setup difficulty, indicating the difficulty and time required to put this build together. We all know that New Game Plus builds can be a slog to grind out, and that's still true here. I want you to get 4 specific modifiers. Between your weapon and your trinket, you have 5 modifier slots, so this is kinda challenging. That said, we know a lot more tricks to making this grind as quick and painless as possible now. For your trinket, here's what you need to do. Stock up on deduper jelly. Make a few sausagers, then wait until late enough to sleep. Make a save, then load your sausagers. Sleep, then check your machines to see if you got what you want. If not, reload your save and repeat until you get your desired modifiers. Just remember, you must save before loading your sausagers. This will not work if you load them, then save. As for your weapon, this one's not too bad either. We get the infused club from the Broodmother, which is by far the easiest farmable boss. With your trinket in hand, your build should already feel pretty strong. Try to kill the Broodmother as many times as you can back to back without dying and without looting her body. Save, then loot, and check what you got. If you didn't get the modifiers you need, reload and repeat until you do. Remember, to make this easier, you can save each time you defeat her. That way, if you die, you can just reload your save and continue on like nothing happened, rather than having to start all over again. It's not terrible, but this build is a little harder than some of my other builds, so I'm going to give this one 7 out of 10 cabbages. My second metric is power, indicating the strength of this build and how quickly you can take out the enemy. This build is without a doubt 10 out of 10 cabbages. I've made a lot of powerful builds to date, but this one may take the cake. I mean, just look at this damage. At New Game 5, I've managed to kill the Broodmother in just 3 attacks. And even with bosses getting the high defense modifier, they still go down insanely fast. Infused bugs, dead. Broodmother, dead. Mantis and Wasp Queen, dead and deader. And last but not least, the big bad infected Broodmother, also dead. This thing is a pancaking machine. Next is ease of use, indicating the difficulty or skill level required to use this build effectively. This build is honestly super easy to use. However, I know it's going to be a little tough at first for some people to untrain themselves from swinging to charging up a heavy attack. For that reason, I'm going to give this one 7 out of 10 cabbages. The higher, the easier. But if you're already comfortable with charging heavy attacks, this is more like 9 out of 10 cabbages. You're simply repeating the same actions over and over. Block, or more ideally parry, the enemy's attacks. Then as soon as their attack or combo's finished, start charging up and smack the enemy silly. If they attack again before you've finished your charge, it's no big deal. You can easily cancel the animation and switch to blocking. My fourth metric is flexibility. This metric asks the big question of how flexible this build is in a wide variety of situations. Can it be used against all the bosses, Java-matic, 1v1, 1v-many, and the Black Widow? I'm giving this one 8.5 out of 10 cabbages. You might not think this build is practical for a lot of fights, but that simply isn't true. Our charge time is so fast that there's plenty of openings against even some of the fastest creatures. In fact, we charge so fast, you'll be able to get in 2 or sometimes even more attacks before having to go back on the defensive. The only exception to the rule is the Black Widow and Phase 3 Infected Broodmother. For the Black Widow, if it's not infused, just tank the hits and kill it outright. For Phase 3 Infected Broodmother, don't forget, you can still swing your club like normal. In fact, that's exactly what you need to do in these extremely rare situations. Our charged attacks might be a tactical nuke, but that doesn't mean our 3-hit combo doesn't also slap. My final metric is fun. This is an important philosophy to me. You need to enjoy what you're doing. Life is too short and our lives are too busy for you to not be getting the most out of your hobbies and downtime. Personally, I'm a sucker for strength builds, so I'm going to give this one 8 out of 10 cabbages. It always feels great when a build comes together, especially when you theory crafted something unique and surprising. Heavy attacks might be far from the meta, but unpopular mechanics can still sometimes surprise you. I mean, come on, who hasn't had a stressful day before and just wanted to smush their foe into a tiny pancake? Maybe it harkens back to those primal caveman days, because this build feels crazy fun. So what'd you think, guys? That was a pretty epic build, right? Keep in mind, my builds always have room for customization, so feel free to play around with it, mixing and matching until you're satisfied. What are some builds you guys play with? Have something awesome you'd like to share? Drop the build in the comments below. Now don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for sticking around. See you all next time.